This is the first flight that I've set up with Litchi and the A2S now that the A2S is fully supported. This flight will be about 2.5 miles, and it's fully autonomous from takeoff to landing and switching off the props. There'll be no intervention from myself. The default that's set is that if it loses signal, which there is a possibility at that distance, then it will just simply fly up to 300 feet and then take the return to home option and fly back itself to the point where it took off from. As the flight begins, some of the settings are that I want the drone to remain 150 feet above the ground. So as it takes off from where I am, it actually flies down from me, but it remains at 150 feet above the ground. I've set it at about 11 miles per hour, and it's now flying down in the valley and setting off in the direction I want it to go. The road that you can see with the vehicles moving up is exiting Thursden Valley and moving up towards Yorkshire, which will be quite near to Widdop Reservoir. Sometimes I point the camera down just to have a look at what's happening and then back up again. Already I can see that the drone is very, very stable. There is a small wind, but it's remaining at 11 miles per hour. It's remaining extremely stable, and no drift, not getting blown anywhere as it makes its way up the valley. We are over halfway up there now as I pass the deserted building. I'm flying right over the small brook, and as I move up there's very little traffic about, but it is a work day. I've gone a mile now already, and still very stable, consistent 100% signal. Really, really good. Already I can see the difference between the A2S and the original A2. The A2 just had 2 antennae in the front 2 legs. The A2S has got 4 antennae, 1 in each of the main legs, and it makes a world of difference with the signal. Usually on the A2 it would drop to perhaps 70-80%, 3 or 4 bars, but here it's still the full 5 bars and 100% signal. We're approaching the top of the valley now. It's here where there's a dog leg and another valley going off up to the left. But I've continued flying, and the A2S has got sensors underneath, so if I were to approach the ground, at some point it would signal back to me and it would stop and just hover if I got too near to the ground. but that's all depending on the signal it's got from the satellites, which are keeping it, and as it's now doing, it's climbing, and it's recognised in front with the sensors that there is a steep rise, and the drone itself is climbing to avoid that, trying to remain the 150 feet above the ground. Now, as we can see over the top on the horizon, down toward, we should be able to see down towards Widdop Reservoir, and here, just over this hill, following the road, there's a cluster of stones called the Ring of Stones, which I'll film. There, just coming into view now, is Widdop Reservoir. Now, the way I've programmed it, it's halfway through what I want it to do, and it'll just turn to the right, and then it will slowly go around the arc and set off back, and then you'll see the distance, which is considerable. Now we start the turn, because we're at the top of the hill, and that's the path I walk on. There's the road running just in front of me, and it's slowly turning round and looking right back down the valley, and I'm on the far horizon. You look down the valley through all the trees, and I'm right back up level with the drone now, sat watching it on screen. There are a number of farms scattered around, and on the way back to me, when I'm waiting for the drone, so what I've done in the waypoints, I've got it so it doesn't fly directly over any farm, because it disturbs any animals, especially at 150 feet. They can hear it. I'm still on that far horizon there, down in the valley and up on the hill, sat there, as you'll see in a few minutes. Where you see the vehicle coming up, it won't see the drone at all, although it's only 150 feet, because I've turned all the lights off on it. There's no blinking lights or anything, because you don't want to distract the drivers, particularly not coming up that road. So you get some idea of the tremendous distances these drones can fly accurately, because I'm halfway back and I'm right on the crest of that hill in front, which is over the road, down through the valley and up, and then land. Now I shall leave the camera on so you can see it coming into land as well. So yeah, it's very, very stable. Has been throughout the full flight. Right on the very crest of that hill, there's a white patch in the centre, right in the centre of the screen. That's the car park where I am, where I'm controlling the drone from. This is one of the areas where I've set the drone to veer slightly left so it doesn't fly over those houses you can see towards the right, so I don't disturb the animals, and then it'll just fly straight up there once it goes over the stream and this little narrow lane. Still maintaining 150 feet above the ground, we now start to climb up, and we're going to the final waypoint, waypoint 11, which I'd set up on the computer, and then we'll turn and return to home, which is exactly where it took off from. And we're flying up there. We're still doing a consistent speed. I can hear a curlew down in the valley with an alarm, so the curlew's obviously heard this, and you do have to be careful so you don't fly around anywhere where there are birds, particularly as you're starting to approach the nesting season. The last flight of the day. Now you can see my chimney parked up there, and you can see me stood just over that wall at the bottom. Where I fly from, as the cars drive past, they can't see me, so it doesn't distract them neither, and they can't see the drone. So I'm now approaching waypoint 11, the final waypoint. The drone will stop and just pivot and head back towards where it took off from when it's going to land. There you go, it's stopped, and it's now ready for heading down to land. Now pivots and now starts to execute the return to home, which, as a safety feature, the drone will climb to over 300 feet and then fly over the spot where it's going to land. This is to avoid flying into any obstacles that may be in the way when it's flying back home, which is particularly important when it's losing signal and there's no connection. So it has to go up there to keep itself safe. Now it's looking directly down. There you can see my car. It's lining up in exactly the same direction it was in when it took off, and now it's starting to descend. And it's using the GPS. It's going to that's a little picnic table, and to the right is the little landing pad which stops the grass and grit getting anywhere near the camera. And there's me moving about. And what it's doing, it's trying to line up right on the actual pad, and it can do it with the aid of the GPS signal and the camera, and it's pretty accurate. It comes down and then it will stop just a short distance above, make the camera safe, and then like that, and then come down and land.